Thank you so much for coming to our website evaluation. I'm here talking to you about a class that I'd like to come in and teach at Turner Middle School. My name is Christy Hedrick. I am the Youth Services Librarian at Berthoud Community Library, and last year I was one of the volunteer judges at the Science Fair project for Turner Middle School. Well, one thing that I noticed while I was going around, I did enjoy seeing all of the different presentations and the young people getting a chance to speak with an adult that they didn't know and tell them a little bit about the science project that they had done. And the thing that I noticed, though, that seemed to be lacking, I noticed that, first of all, none of the projects that I looked at, and I was only at one session, but none of the projects that I looked at, none of the students chose to use a book for their research. All of them had gone to the websites, different websites, and the thing that concerned me was that each of them used less than 3 websites. Definitely, most of them got all their information from one website, and very few of the 8th graders had the ability to discuss with me why they thought the website was accurate or valuable as a teaching tool, or whether or not I asked them, did you look for information in other places? And most of them said no. They didn't even look for other information. So the class that I'd like to teach about website evaluation here at Turner has to do with being able to think critically and question and delve a little deeper for information. So mostly what teachers and principals and folks want to know nowadays is, what course standard will this meet? If it doesn't meet a course standard, we honestly don't have time for this. But it does. It comes across as reading informational text for grade 8. We focus on key ideas and details. They need to be able to read for craft and structure, integration of the knowledge and ideas that they're reading about, and overall the range, the quality, and the complexity of the text. And since a good deal, well, pretty much all of them, chose to read information off the internet, I figured that this is a very important place to look at text for these types of standards. The key ideas and details, we'll be talking about citing your sources, and you need to be able to cite text that supports the analysis and what is explicitly stated in the text, as well as what can be inferred by the text. So this will help them look at websites and information from websites and be able to glean the central idea and the relationship to the details that support the main idea. For the craft and structure, they'll need to determine the meaning of the words and phrases as they're used in the text. Some of them will be reading text and it will be very technical, and some of the technical jargon is not the same doesn't have the same meaning as it does to the average layman. This is very important with craft and structure on websites, for the students to be able to determine the author's point of view or purpose in a text. Does this author intend to sell you something? Do they want to teach you something? Are they simply giving their opinion and viewpoint? Do they acknowledge and respond to conflicting evidence or other people's viewpoints? Is this a biased website? Those sorts of ideas. The integration and knowledge. They need to be able to evaluate the argument that they're reading and the specific claims, and assess whether their reasoning is sound and if the evidence is relevant and sufficient. Finally, they need to be able to analyze 2 or more texts that provide conflicting information on the same topic, and identify where the texts disagree on matters of fact or interpretation. So this is where comes in that they need to be able to realize they need the importance of looking at more than just one website. You can't glean all of your information from a single place. On my end of it, does this fit with the mission of the Berthoud Community Library District? Am I just trying to get out of my job? No. It provides resources for learning. It enriches each of the students individually because it helps them to think more critically about what they're reading on the websites. And overall, it enhances the community quality of life, because the more that you know and question and think, the better off the community is as a whole. So, what is our overall teaching aim? As I said, I would like to see your students come out with some healthy skepticism. I know being smart Alex, that's not too much fun, but a healthy skepticism and thoughtful questioning is where we want these kids to get to. We don't need them to just swallow and regurgitate facts. They need to be able to take those facts and think about them and bring in their own experiences and create something new with that. So, how are we going to tell if we're doing our job? What are our benchmarks? Well, we want the students to be able to explain why a website is credible. They need to be able to identify the author or company or organization that takes care of or has produced this website. They need to know and understand if the author what qualifications the author has, what the company is trying to sell you, what the organization stands for and is interested in. They need to be able to find when the site was last updated. They need to know if they're reading current information. They need to be able to talk about the URL address of the site and what the URL can tell them about the site before they even click on it. They need to be able to identify the author's tone. Is it an opinion piece? Is it a factual piece? Are they being lectured to? What's the clarity? Is the author being clear? Are there a lot of complex ideas in the text? And finally, is the author biased, or is it just the author's opinion? as opposed to evidenced facts. Alright, so we'll get down to the nitty-gritty. What do I need at the school to do this? Well, of course, I need your 8th grade students, and I'm sure you'll just toss them at me. But I need your students. I need a computer lab so that we can practice and identify these parts together. I would like a smart board, but I can do with a whiteboard or chalkboard as well. And the access to Wikispace's classroom is primarily for any continued discussion and support and further evaluation for the students and myself. And of course, the teacher would have access to that as well. And what do I bring to you guys? I will bring my enthusiasm for this subject. I will bring the evaluation tools. I will bring worksheets for the students to use in their research so that as we do our step-by-step lesson, they will have an example and to follow and go through when they do their own research for the science project. And I will bring you a lesson outline so you know exactly what I'll be teaching. So, finally we gotta figure out if I did it right. Did the lesson stick? Well, we'll find out by asking the students. We're gonna find out by looking and seeing how many websites did the students use to research the science project. Was it more than last year? Can the student identify the parts of a URL? Can the student tell you how recently the information from the site that they used or sites that they used for their science project? Can the student identify the party responsible for the website? Do they know where their information is coming from? Then we can take that information, that evaluation information, and look at the strengths that our lessons have already and find where we can improve. So we'll look at the outcome evidence, the answers to all those questions, and what does that tell us? We'll figure it out. Look at the data and figure out if and how we can make this a better lesson to bring back to the school next year. So I thank you very much for your time, and I will be very happy to answer any questions. Thank you.